Hello. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a series on positioning, and as you might be able to tell with the um, with the audio, which is acting a bit strange. Actually, I have two instances of the game open on my game. I have the Steam version, I have the Steam client, and I have the standalone client. So, but I actually don't have to deal with any of the bots or anything. You can notice that I'm recording the perspective of my alt because that is what my computer liked. So that's what we're doing. So we're just going to be going over like general positioning. Yeah, I'm sorry, the audio is going to be really messed up. So you're going to be like I saw ML7 do a series on this. So we're essentially going to be copying that. Basically, we're just going to be running over every position, general positioning, common positioning mistakes, and we're going to be doing it for every map, just as a sort of how-to. So, I'm just playing Eevee. This isn't going to be like for one specific character either. Like, it's not going to apply super well, but again, the idea is that it's very general. So, we're going to talk about every point fight, every choke, basically everywhere there's going to be an important fight on this map. So, if you're on the point, you've really got three options. Your number one option is going high ground. This is going to be like you follow your team, right? You don't decide your position as a support. It just depends where your team goes. So if your team's going high ground, you go high ground as well. Generally, you want to play this area. Peeking out here isn't great because there's a big LOS here. This is really good for Grover spam, and snipers like to watch it. You can play here. Usually playing on the stairs is pretty safe. If you ever do get high ground, you manage to cross, you can be pretty safe up here. It is kind of exposed, and you don't really have anywhere that's great to drop to, but overall, like, yes, high ground is good. Just realize that it's not good for your tanks and your DPS. So your tanks and DPS are probably going to be dropping really quick. Don't follow them, ideally, because like if your tanks and they drop to here, and you get one tank of DPS there, like you can still heal them just fine from up here. You just got to be careful of the LOS from main, and that's really it. Like if they have no poke, you can just kind of sit here for free. But generally, like playing this corner and playing on the stairs is going to be pretty good. You can play around this well here. It's not a great option. You can fall into it, by the way. So like if I did that, I'd die. But so we're not gonna do that. I don't like playing down here. There's not really any advantage to it compared to playing up top. So like it's a bit riskier. The only time I do it is if my team is like out of my LOS. Like if you're on here, right, then everyone starts leaving your LOS and they're pushing over there, then you can drop. So you have two options. Generally, you want to play back here and on this corner. You can be cheeky here. Usually, you just want to play here because like it gives you somewhere to back up to at the very least, in case you get flanked. You can also play around the statue if you really want to get cheeky. But again, then you're like really close to tanks, so I wouldn't try to do that. Generally, where you want to be on this map is somewhere around this fountain here. So playing this door tends to work out really well. This is if your team doesn't go high ground. If your team goes high ground, play on the stairs, play on high ground, drop if you absolutely need to, but generally it's just following your off tank. And if your team's just playing around point, like it's pretty common for one tank to play that statue and one tank to play that statue, then you're playing around here. If you really want to, you can play on these stairs. Realize you're going to be playing this door, trying to LOS things. You can, like, there's a lot of ways you can cover your angles here. You can peek main if you really want to. You can play back here. You just gotta watch out for the flank rope back there, and that's really it. This space is pretty safe because you're generally playing with a DPS. Like some DPS would like to play in main. Like even the spots. I'm not sure how this spot is for DPS, but they really like to play right here. So if you're right here, you've got a tank there, DPS there. You're protected. You're pretty much safe. All you have to do is watch out for people coming around. If you are a Grover, you can play here. And this is a really nice spam angle. And you still have this corner to LOS it. You don't really have to worry about main because you're playing from below. That's Grover specific. And that's really it. Like I'd only consider playing from this door and on high grounds, and that's really it. Some common mistakes. So if you're playing from back here, First of all, it has horrible LOS on like everything. Like, so if you're playing back here, it's because you're losing the high ground fight and both your tanks were there. In that case, it's okay. It's a bit safer than playing right here. Just in case you're losing the poke fight, but then you probably lost the fight anyways. You don't want to play from inside here because if you back up, then you're out of the fight and nothing's gonna be able to help you back here. So you're pretty much dead if they chase. There's no way your team can help you. Like this is cool and all, but honestly, like you can still get shot from most of the important areas. So not great. If you play all the way back here, I haven't played EV in a while. Play all the way back here. Well, you're not really doing too much to help your team win, are you? Like, if you really want to carry your games and you want to do well in them, this spot doesn't do anything. Like it's probably gonna be fine in like scrims and stuff. If like the other team has a dive comp and you have a sniper, you can just babysit your sniper. So that's like a situation where this could be okay, but otherwise, like your tanks have to play in like super specific spots to be able to have LOS on you. It's super far away, so you're not actually contributing anything to the fight. So, like, yes, you're safe and you can heal. Same goes for like this sort of position. You're safe and you can heal, but you're not gonna win the fight doing this. Right? You're not gonna help your team win the fight. You're gonna stand by and watch as your team makes that decision. And all along this area right here, it's sort of like a middle ground. Where, like, yes, there's LOS to play around with and all that, but at the same time, it's also just in the middle of the open. And this LOS is super important because if you ever give up high ground, then the other DD, like a Victor or something, gets control of here. Then you have to like leave, and you have to play like this corner, and it's just weird. Like it's all of mid is just worse than playing here. Oh, cursor spammed out for a sec. If you really have to, like, yes, you could back up into mid. But yeah, playing a main usually just worse than playing here. Just watch for the flank is the biggest thing. Like if you're Ying, you could have clones over there, so you can like waste time. If you're Grover, then like, you can find out to your DPS, or you can honestly just drop down, start to play here. Still have to worry about LS from main. You can dance around the fountain, wait for your DPS to come help. And then I think that's about it for the mid. Like usually you're gonna be playing here or on the high ground, and that's pretty much it. The first choke on this map is this line right here, right? This sort of choke, and goes all along the map. So like explain briefly how this choke usually works. Usually one team has, the defending team has like really firm control over this area. This area is super important, high ground good. And there's a little fight going on in this tunnel. This tunnel is called Bells because there's bells, and that room is called Blue because it is blue. And over there, that's just Temple because it is a temple. We are very creative here at Paladins. So knowing how this comp the choke works, like it's either take control of this or take control of this and get like a crossfire going. And that's usually how the choke works. So your job as a support, your team's usually going to be contesting this area super hard, so you want to help that. If your team has really firm control over it, you can play back here. And this sort of area gives you decent LOS in the main, really get LOS to heal people there. You're super safe, you can heal people over there, no problem. You can even see this if you really want to. I don't know what you can do with it, but you can. If you don't have super firm control of it, you can play on the stairs. It's a bit easier LOS over there. It's, again, like I'd much rather play up here. It's a bit safer. But you can do it. And that's really it. Like that's actually just it for the, like you play here or you play right here. And those are your two options. Because anywhere else, like it's the same issue as on the mid fight where if you play like in main, you're in main, right? And that's not ideal. Yeah, if you play in here, like you can play back here, but then you can't heal the people on high. You could, like if you're over here, you're just gonna get ran at, right? You're so close to the action. Like you do want to keep some distance, right? Like you usually want to keep some sort of medium range. Yeah, either here or on the stairs. That's really it. Like you could play back here, but that's not really great. If your team doesn't have control over high ground, then yeah, you're kind of just defaulting to mid. Like just follow your main tank, because like if then you're just in a really rough spot, and it's just like then you just gotta hope that your team takes some space. Because if your team doesn't have control over there, but your team's making a push for it. Oh, my cursor has left my screen. If your team's making a push for the high ground, then yeah, you might as well follow them and help your team take the high ground, right? Help your team with what they want to do. It's in the name, right? Support your team. So, for the last choke, it's pretty simple. You play high ground. You play in front of your spawn door. Or one of the spawn doors. That's really it. Like, this choke is literally, like, look at it from their POV, right? There's like this ginormous line, like yeah, like this ginormous line that just goes like across, right? And they have to break this, and they have to push into like your entire team just like shooting for free, right? Into all the important parts. Well, they're like this close to a spawn. Like it's insanely difficult to break this choke. Like you have to do it by like getting cheeky angles on the sides, or like it's really difficult. There's no reason for you to play anywhere other than your spawn. So you can get creative with it. I wouldn't play like in the middle. Like yes, you can probably jump peek or something, but like you might as well just play in front of in front of that actual spawn door. Depending on where their range is. Like if they have a Kinessa and the Kinessa's playing main, you don't want to play in front of this spawn door because then she shoots you and they have to like this. And then like you literally just like can't move. So you might as well go to the other spawn door, a bit safer. If you really want to get spicy with it, you can play on one of these and try to LS things. But I mean, it's risky, but you can do it. So you can play on these, but be careful with it. Generally, just play in front of your spawn doors. If you were in spawn and you're playing, yay, I'm in the good support spot that Fishnit told me to play in front of. And then your team's like leaving, like you kind of gotta follow them, because if your team pushes up, they're like, yay, I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna chase the shiny things in front of me, and I'm fighting. And then you're like, well, I can't help with that. You have to follow them, because if you leave your team to die, like that's not great. So you follow them. Just as close, like be as far away as you can. Like you never want to leave a choke like this. It is literally the easiest spot to hold in the game. Like last chokes in general are like the easiest spot to hold. I never noticed there's like a shop back here. That's a Geno symbol. Anyhow, there's probably some lore stuff in here, isn't there? Anyhow, if your team is pushing fast, you don't want to follow them, and that'd be the only situation where I'd ever play low ground. Because if you back up and your team's gonna be like, they're gonna take their fight, right? They're gonna, yeah, we're going in, and then they're gonna start losing because they're fighting in like the middle of nowhere. They're not fighting out one of the chokes, right? That's like this line and this line. And they're gonna start slowly backing up. Oh, that's wrong. Wrong Paladins. They're gonna start slowly backing up, and they're gonna start losing. And so you're gonna be following them. You're gonna be backing up. You'll be healing people, and then you're gonna end up in this sort of position where like you want to get back up to high ground, but you don't know if you have the time to. So if you really need to, you can play this spawn door. You can like play around this. Don't play this tree. Like you could, but there's like a much better position, literally like 2 feet behind it. So don't bother. For the pushes. So on the offense, right? Same thing. The other team's gonna have control over this, and your team's gonna be trying to break through over there in bells. So your best option is to play around this sort of corner, and if you really want to, you can play around the fountain. I wouldn't really do either. Like, it honestly just depends where your team goes, right? If your team's trying to take the high ground, like yeah, then you can either follow them if you really want to, like if you think it's safe, or you can play this corner, because there's not like there's this huge wide open area to cross, and if you actually do cross it, like yes, good job, I got here, then you can only heal the people who are here. You won't actually my cursor. You don't want to actually be able to help the people who are trying to get to the other area. So, like, yes, if you can cross, fine, that's cool. Like, same thing if you go somewhere over here. Like, yes, cool, I'm safe. You're safe here. But like, you're gonna have a really tough time actually helping the fight over there too much. Same thing if you go around Fruit Blue. So, generally, it's if you can follow, then like by all means go for it. If your team's like hard pushing aside, but otherwise you're gonna be like playing back here and waiting for your team to do something. If your team pushes, then you can help them. If your team like there's not much you can do here, just because if you ever do make a move, it's difficult to cross, and then once you do get there, you can't really help too much. So it sucks. It sucks. Just try to identify where your team is like actually going to be pushing, and then try to help them push that area as best as you can. For the last choke, again, bit of a pain. So usually what teams do, they're going to have your main tank and a main DPS, right? Something like an Nara Victor. You're going to have an offlane. Usually they play over here. So you have your main line there, you have an offlane in there, and then you have some sort of flank over there. Um, so you want to be helping the offline, right? You want to be playing aggressive. When you want to be playing aggressive, you follow the offline. But at the same time, you want to keep your main tank alive. So usually you're doing some sort of dance between and this general area, right? You can play in here. That's kind of cheeky. You can push up to here, and it's very far up and very in front of their tanks, but it perfectly LOSs the high ground. It's kind of spooky. You might die, but if you like walk up here a little bit and you can like hit a big Dawn Bolt or something, I don't know. That's an option if you really want to be cheeky, but most of the time you're going to be starting on here. This is assuming that you're not like pushing the cart still. You're going to be starting from around this area, trying to LOS things, and then when your team makes a play, you want to help them. And that's really all you can do. Like if your team pushes up here, then yeah, follow them. You can play LOS high ground with this rock. You can push into here if you really want. You're probably going to be taking a lot of damage doing this. I wouldn't ever go to this side because it's not great for offlanes to take. Like this is usually best for solo flanks, and offlanes will usually take pillars or arches over there. I think this is just coast right here. Coast, mid, and arches. It's like if your team goes here, yeah, follow them because your team's going there. But it's generally not where you're going to be going. If you're playing like some sort of triple DPS and you don't have an offline to follow, it's the same thing. Where's your team making a play? Where's your team pushing? So if you have, let's say main tank there and like a DPS, one DPS there, one DPS here, and one DPS contesting the flank way over there. First of all, if you're in rank, you can take whichever one you think is the best. Like, okay, our Andrew's doing really well this game. I'm going to help our Andrew, and then you follow your Andrew wherever he's going on this part of the map. But generally, yeah, it's going to be which DPS is making a play right now, and which can I like support the most. If I support them, who will do the most? And that's pretty much this choke. Like, this map kind of sucks, man. It's for supports. It's very... There's so much open space and so many, like, gigantic walls that, like, you can't do too much, right? It's very difficult to be aggressive. And there's very few rotations because it's very, like, where are you going to rotate to? Again, it's all big open spaces. So it's not great. Anyhow, I think that's it. This looks so weird on my screen. I just want you guys to know. Yeah, that's it for this one. I'm probably gonna do the others if I can maybe figure out a way to fix the Grover bot from DCing so much. That's really strange. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm planning on doing every single map. In the game. I just started with Ascension because it's alphabetical, even though it's kind of boring. But we'll get into like the Bright Marsh and the Jags and the fun maps with rotations later. So I'll see you guys next time.